Brian Thomas Jr. Lawrence. He is a guy who clearly, well, he was magnificent last season, went a little bit under the radar because the Jags struggles overall, but he could lead. It's not inconceivable he could lead the league in targets next year.
That's not out of consideration at all. Liam Cohen already said the passing game would run through him. They're going to look to run him on more routes to get him the ball short, middle, and long. He was wide receiver 1 in all the games that Engram and Christian Kirk missed last year. Like, that's big. He should be easily within the top 6 or 7 receivers drafted this year just based on the expected volume alone. So, gotta love Brian Thomas Jr. regardless.
I mean, just the fact he got labeled as a vertical guy in the draft, and then by the second half of the season, Jacksonville was like, no, let's throw him screens. Let's get him underneath routes. Let's get the ball in his hands and him running after the catch. It was such a positive sign for his development. And there's nobody in this offense that scares you eating into his workload. Like, Parker Washington is a solid slot. Diami Brown is a field-stretching number 3. Like, what are you nervous of?
Gabe Davis is there.
He's there?
Money.
He exists.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Brenton Strange hours.
Brenton Strange. Oh, we like Brenton Strange. But right, exactly. Just in the 4 games in which Christian Kirk and Evan Engram missed last season, again, like he was awesome. And so, sky's the limit. Brian Thomas on the short list for ride or die next year.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say that.
Be very
When do you think he gets drafted, Matthew?
What?
How early do you think he gets drafted? By the time we get to August.
By the time we get to August, I think he's not going to be in the 3rd round of any draft. I think he's second. I think he's a second round.
I think he's barely second round.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably late first, early second. I think the hype on him will get kind of ridiculous.
Yep. Connor, Davante Adams didn't work out in New York, but he still looked like Davante Adams, and now he gets an upgraded quarterback.
This is a huge upgrade for the Rams and a great upgrade for him. Just the fact that you're going from whatever the Jets were out there doing on offense to Sean McVay,
To a
right?
professional franchise?
Yeah. So the real coach.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it was like him and Aaron Rodgers playing street ball, especially the play where they threw the ball back and forth to each other, and then I think Davante got lit up. To Sean McVay, who's going to tell you what to do, and you should probably listen. Like, do I need deeper analysis than that?
Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, they were just like, man, the hell with everybody else, man. They was playing.
Garrett Wilson was standing there like, all right.
And I would argue, Connor, you tell me if you disagree with this. I mean, a lot of people are going to talk about, like, you can't make up for the connection between Rodgers and Adams, which is born over so many years and so many practices and such their close friendship. But I would argue at this stage of their careers, Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Like, Stafford played at a higher level last year. This is an upgrade at quarterback for Davante Adams from what he played with last year to what he'll play with this year.
So this is where it hurts, in my opinion. He caught 8 touchdowns last year. I wouldn't guarantee that this year.
Yeah.
But in terms of the actual game-by-game consistent production, I would point that the arrow goes up.
I say this about Matthew Stafford, too. It's like he didn't have, he had to come to L.A. and build rapport with Cooper Kupp. That happened in an instant. He lost Cooper Kupp, rookie, 5th-round pick, Puka Nacua. That happened week 1. He used to, so he's done it with multiple receivers. I don't think it'll have any problem here with Davante Adams.
Yep. Next guy on the love list, Chris Godwin, Matthew, who ends up in probably the best possible situation remaining in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, I think just, coming back to Tampa Bay, an offense that he's familiar with, because they're going to run the same offense, even though Liam Cohen's now in Jacksonville. They're going to run the same offense, a quarterback that he's familiar with in his same spot. But to me, the biggest piece of the free agency here is that not only did he return to a familiar situation where last year prior to getting hurt, this guy's a top 5 fantasy wide receiver and just absolutely balling out. But more importantly is like just a massive amount of guaranteed money. No one knows his health better than the Buccaneers. Some other team might have been a little bit more desperate and thrown money at him. The Patriots offered him more money, just trying to get him there because, hey, we need a guy, right? And who cares whether you're healthy or not? But the Buccaneers, knowing where he is in his rehab, knowing how injured he is, and still said, yeah, here's a boatload of guaranteed money, I think is a pretty good indicator that we should expect the same Chris Godwin back next year for the Buccaneers and fantasy managers.
Yep. Lawrence, big upgrades for the Raiders pass catchers in general, just going from the situation they had last year with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell to now Geno Smith. And so Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, both their outlooks look a lot better.
Yeah, you love it for Brock Bowers, although he was going to be the top tight end off the board, even if they brought back Gardner Minshew and whoever they could scrum up, but it helps Jacoby Myers, maybe Trey Tucker if you're in a deeper league. The more important thing is I don't think, in Brock Bowers' case, I don't think there's a player that they could add via free agency or the draft at this point that will affect any type of motion that he had. That led all tight ends, 112 receptions, almost 1,200 rushing yards, only the 5 touchdowns, but so much volume, it doesn't matter.
But again, it's just, it's think about what he did last year with inconsistent, I'm being kind here, inconsistent quarterback play and his rookie year, and now in his second year in the league with and I say this as a sign of respect, as a professional quarterback. Like Geno can run an offense. Geno can throw the ball on time and in rhythm, and so I think this is a pretty big upgrade at quarterback for both these guys.
Yep. Connor, a team that has been definitely painted as a free agency loser is the Niners because they lost a lot of guys, didn't really add that much. I still think this offense is going to be sick.
Because they develop guys every year.
Yeah, and 2 of those guys are Jawan Jennings, who at times looked like a wide receiver 1 playing with Brock Purdy, and then Ricky Pearsall, who we forget was taken high in the draft and got shot last year and came back from that and showed flashes towards the end of the season.
Right. I mean, with Jennings, first off, this is a guy that I will want to leave my drafts with this summer. Ayuk is somebody that tore his ACL and MCL at the end of October. That's late point of a season-ending injury. When you look at the history in fantasy of wide receivers coming off a torn ACL the previous season, it doesn't paint a pretty picture. It does not paint a pretty picture. And the most recent example we saw last year was Mike Williams, who had nothing with the Jets and nothing with the Steelers. I'm not factoring a huge year the first half of the season for Ayuk. Who does that impact? Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Ayuk starts the season, just given all this. And, I mean, Ayuk is younger than Williams in terms of where they are with the careers. But, by the way, Ayuk wasn't great prior to the injury.
No.
He'd held out of all camp. He'd held out all camp and they finally got the contract situation.
He didn't look right.
He didn't look great. He was out of rhythm, and then the injury, which is upsetting. But certainly in terms of, we don't expect Ayuk to start the season on time, and even if he does, he'll probably be limited. And the fact that Deebo Samuel leaving opens up a lot of targets here. Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall both have had a pretty good free agency in terms of their fantasy value.
Yep, I'm buying Niners stock. I still think they're the third best team in the NFC after Philly and Detroit, though. Washington was an argument there as well. Evan Engram. Who perhaps gets talked about more in fantasy relative to real-life NFL than any other player
really
in history. But he now gets Bo Nix as his new quarterback in Denver, who loves to throw the ball short, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, so listen, back-to-back, this is for Evan Engram, like back-to-back seasons with at least a 23% target share, but his average depth of target is just 5.2. That's 4th lowest among tight ends. I mean, Evan Engram is somebody who kind of lives near the line of scrimmage, and he's kind of been a PPR merchant, as we talk about certainly in fantasy, and that fits in perfectly with what Sean Payton and Bo Nix like to do. Bo Nix, 26th among qualified quarterbacks in average depth of target. He took a few deep shots, but a lot of stuff was underneath. Bo Nix, coming out of college, was known for being accurate, and short, accurate passes was a hallmark of Bo Nix's passing, quick release. And so I think this is a really nice move and landing spot for Engram and for Bo Nix. And when you think about sort of Mims and Sutton, running down the sidelines, Ingram's going to get a lot of the underneath stuff for Denver next year.
Okay, let's take a look at some others receiving votes, headlined by Garrett Wilson, Matthew, who now has a Jets passing game all to himself.
Yeah, he does. Obviously, Devontae Adams, had a 30% target share last year. So that's suddenly up for grabs. They'll add to it, but Garrett Wilson's going to be the alpha, especially with his college quarterback under center. Christian Kirk, you see there. This is a nice matchup, nice landing spot for him in Houston, where Stephon Diggs, who had a 24% target share and run a lot of his routes out of the slot last year, was wide receiver 16. Diggs isn't going to be back. Neither is Tank Dell. We don't expect this year. So Kirk should be the number 2 in a competent passing attack there in Houston. Zach Ertz, we talked about just being able to return to Jaden Daniels, and that offense should be good. Gesicki getting to return with Joe Burrow. It's a nice offseason for him. And Brenton Strange, who we just sort of mentioned there, but Jacksonville actually ranked 8th in tight end target share last season. They were 10th in total tight end targets here. This is a guy who had at least 9 fantasy points in 7 of his 9 career games where he got a double-digit target share. And so with Evan Engram, Christian Kirk both gone, Brenton Strange is going to be the starting tight end of a Liam Cohen offense. We saw last year what he did with Cade Otton. I do think Brenton Strange is going to be like a top 12-ish fantasy tight end. It's been a good offseason for Brenton Strange.
He was a second-round pick. People forget that he's not some scrub.
Right.
And this is a good opportunity for him.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully, respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.